Hey, I'm Jason Harrell.
And I'm Justin Boyd.
And let's freaking do this.
Welcome to episode number 8 of Let's Freaking Do This. My name is Justin Boyd, and I am once again thrilled to be joined by my good friend Jason Harrell, who's also a musician. Jason, how's it going?
It's going great, and I'm glad that you're thrilled to be here.
Always thrilled.
I'm glad that somebody could be thrilled to be associated with me. It's pretty rare, but thank you for bringing that to this relationship.
I'm also thrilled.
That voice you're hearing is Will Payne Harrison. Will, how's it going?
It's going great. How are y'all doing?
We're good. Very good.
This is the awkward moment where we pretend like we haven't had like a 15, 20-minute conversation before this.
Where you haven't seen my daughter bounce around in my lap.
That's right.
So, hey, Jason, tell us who Wayne Pill.
Wayne
I'm combining his name, yeah. Tell us who Will Payne Harrison is.
Let's see. We've got a little bio thing here. Nashville-based country, roots, folk, blues, Americana. Is that something you describe yourself as, or was that something that Justin just came up with?
I found it on a website.
Oh, okay.
Was that on my website?
You know, there's a Spotify bio for you.
Let me finish what I was saying so we don't get lost. Nashville-based country, roots, folk, blues, Americana, singer-songwriter, co-host of Americana Station, podcast on roots music and songwriting, singer-songwriter Will Payne Harrison.
That's me.
Welcome to the show, Will.
Thanks for having me. This is cool to do. I'm still not over the fact that you picked Matt Moran before me, but I'll accept it.
You know what? Let's just get to that right now. You've got this rivalry with Matt Moran, who was the first guest on our show, and let's see what you and Matt are up to. What's going on in this photo here? Looks like y'all are touring together, but doesn't look like y'all are getting along too well.
You know, it's just like sometimes he's annoying, and you gotta, he started with this like whole like he's gonna take me out. And, things escalated quickly, and I probably got a good 40, 50 pounds on him. So obviously I destroyed him, but he's also a smoker, so he can't really chase me too quickly.
It looks like though in the photo, he's got a chair or a stool, and you're just going with the double axe handle, which is a solid wrestling move, but I'm not sure. I feel like he might have the advantage.
I think if I had a few minutes, I could take this picture and like superimpose an actual axe in his hands.
That would be amazing.
It's like I posted a picture of me wearing a hat, and Blake took the picture and put like this miniature fiddle.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah,
I saw that too. Yeah, that was great. So Will, where is this rivalry headed? Like, what's happening here with you and
where is this? Where is this one? I can't remember where this was.
That was somewhere in Texas. That was Wichita Falls, I think.
I guess the backdrop there of the flag.
Yeah, I could tell it was in Texas. I just wasn't sure exactly where.
Yeah, and it looks like maybe somebody's got a merch display back there.
Oh yeah, that's some of my merch.
Is that like a mold of a body?
Yeah.
That's
my
cool.
My buddy Steven, it broke on the top or something, so he just gave it to me, and I'm like, sweet, I don't care, that works. So just throw the hat on top, you can't even tell.
Yeah, that's I mean, most of the time people have their shirts just laying out on a table, but you've got like an actual like a mannequin model of what it looks like when you put it on.
Yeah.
Assuming you're built like the mannequin, but I don't know.
Right, it looks way better on the mannequin than it does on me.
Yeah, they usually don't make Jason shaped mannequins.
They should, just like a beer belly mannequin. Not saying that you have a beer belly, but just
I do. My son calls me Mr. Big Belly.
Man, so, Zach said that you tore up the that show though. you're playing fiddle with him.
Yeah, we had there was a bunch of people there. I mean, that's the way Zach rolls. I think they just come into town and bring like a bunch of people, and but I mean, like everybody, like there was 1, 2, 3, 4 different people who sang songs that night, as far as their own music. So it was like a whole Zach Welch family experience type thing, I think.
Nice.
Or 301 Productions family, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, what I should have said was thank you to Zach for saying that. That was very nice of him to say that I did a good job. But I think it was fun. I mean, man, he's got a killer guitar player. I don't remember if I posted the video on Twitter of Colton, and it's basically Zach's band.
Yeah.
But it's Colton and Lawrence, whose last name I can't remember, and Ethan on drums. And they just kind of got up and did like an impromptu blues thing. And I don't know if they made it up on the spot or if they had joked about this name, but it was Grimy Dimes and the Filthy Nickels.
Was that the same band that played on his record, the last record?
As far as I know, yeah.
Yeah.
I know Colton was a guitar on it because we talked about that.
Yeah.
Like he's got some killer, like Eric Johnson riffs that Eric Johnson-esque riffs.
Yeah.
That he's really shredding the guitar on. But it was fun. I've been with those guys twice now. Once with just Zach and Colton, and now with the full band. And I got another one coming up. We're going to do in the end of October. But
yeah, and you played Green Hall. That's pretty awesome.
I did. Hey, you know what? We have Will Payne Harrison. We're supposed to be talking about Will Payne Harrison.
Well, I'm also a podcast.
Yeah, that's
right.
So I'm flipping the script here. Sorry about that.
We had the band Laredo flipping the script and asking us questions last week. So maybe that'll become a thing.
So, well, for those of us who follow you on Twitter, you had some big news this morning. Would you like to talk about that?
Oh yeah. So actually, my co-host on the podcast, India Ramey, and I are along with Veronica Stanton are playing at the original basement on.
Boom.
Oh, you have like all the. This is awesome. Yeah, on October 21st, which is the actual release date of my record. So that'll be super exciting. And the Royal Hounds are actually, their rhythm section is going to back me up. I'm super pumped about that. Scott Hines set that up, which was super cool.
What kind of band is that? I mean, I'm not familiar with them. Is that
they're like country rockabilly. They're more rockabilly though, but they're pretty well known, at least in Nashville. They play a lot in the good honky tonks on Broadway and stuff.
Yeah.
Really sick band. And I was honored that they would want to play for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have never been to Nashville. I would love to go. Is it like just music everywhere? I mean, is it kind of like a just big bustling music town, or
yeah, definitely
just completely wall to wall, every street?
Every street, things that don't make sense. I once played a juice place. That was a really weird one. It was like a juice bar. I think it was called the Juice Bar or something like that.
Yeah.
Just, that's just one. I don't know if you've ever heard of Cumberland Transit. I played Cumberland Transit one time, which is like a outdoor type sports store.
Yeah.
I've played some weird stuff.
Pretty much people just expect there to be music wherever they go if they're in Nashville.
Yeah, most of those are like more special occasion type things, but like every coffee shop, every bar, well, not every bar. Some bars specifically are like we're not, like Mickey's, which is like everyone's favorite neighborhood bar. Specifically is like we're not doing music, and they just have a jukebox, which is pretty badass. But most places, their sister bar, D's Country Cocktail Lounge, does music like all day, every day.
So, how long have you been in Nashville?
8 years. a little over 8 years. Yeah, I came down in 2014, and I was actually not doing the songwriter thing at the time. I mean, I was doing songwriting, but I wasn't doing it like I wasn't pursuing it. I was coming to do PR. At the time I was working with Steve Riley and the Mamu Playboys and Fofele down in Lafayette, Louisiana, and was doing some PR stuff for them. And I just decided that like they're both like huge Cajun bands that are, you know, world renowned. And I just decided that like if that was like the top of the line in Louisiana, it could only get better in Nashville. So I decided to move, and I'm glad I did. But then the songwriting bug kind of bit me pretty quickly.
So you brought your sound, or what you grew up with in Louisiana, you brought that to Nashville. How is that blended, or is that blending, or are you still kind of sticking to your roots from Louisiana?
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, it's the rhythms are I think the part that, and that's a lot in Texas too. Just that kind of, there's a little bit more of a swing to everything, and there's a little bit more of a backbeat to everything. So, I mean, I'll still play like straight beat country songs, but I like when it kind of sways and moves, and I think that comes from like that, you know, Louisiana and Texas culture of kind of being a little bit behind the beat on purpose.
You got a lot of fiddle on this new record.
Yeah, and I didn't call you. I'm sorry.
When did you record this?
I started in May of 2021 with the drums, and then I just I can't remember when I did fiddle, but I did fiddle, electric guitar, baritone. I think that was it. On sometime like in the spring, like I had a date lined up, or maybe it was like the late winter. And Meredith Krugowski of Adrian Plus Meredith did all of the fiddle except for The Way. I think that's track 5 or 6, which Van Plating did.
Yeah, I mentioned to you, I guess it was the DM on Twitter, that I thought it was interesting that you had credits for both fiddle and violin, which, you know, brings to mind the question that often comes up is, what's the difference between a fiddle and a violin? And I always tell, my grandpa used to always say the joke is, a fiddle you throw in a sack and hang it on the horn of your saddle, and a violin you put in a case.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of fiddle in there. There's some good fiddling in there. There's what was I gonna say? The whole album is really well produced. I mean, top notch sound.
Thank you.
And you told me that and I can't remember. I can't read this right now. I had to actually get my. It's so small. I had to put my phone out and take a picture and zoom in to be able to read what it says. That's the only reason I know there's 2 credits for violin and fiddle in here. But, you know, my eyes are not what they used to be. But you told me, you know, you had done the all the engineering for this.
Yeah. I did all the engineering, mixing, mastering, producing.
So like you got drums, and you were telling me you got drums and a few of the other things like the fiddles and stuff like recorded at a studio, but then they just kind of send you the files and you get after it and mix it all together. And
no, I actually brought my equipment to the studio.
Okay.
So I just rented out the studio and set up everything, set up the mics.
You did all of it. You didn't even like hire somebody to record the instruments.
No, I did it all. Yeah.
I
played bass as well and keys.
Yeah.
Just on one song though.
I mean, that's impressive. I mean, this thing sounds, you know, as crystal clear and solidly put together as anything you can hear. And I was telling Justin before, like it's very traditional sounding. It's not, it's not like you're trying to throw hip hop beats in there or something like you're and auto tune and stuff.
I'll leave
Like
that to mainstream country.
Yeah, no, this is right, like very I don't know what you call it, kind of like roots based or very traditional sounding. I think it's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. I was definitely trying to go for like 60s, 70s style with like a little bit more modern production, but not like overkilling the modern production. So like we tracked the drums for all the nerds out there that care about this, like John Bonham style. But we did throw in a snare mic too. So it's just like, for those that aren't familiar, it's just kick, and then there's one above, and then there's one on the side.
Okay.
And then we threw in a snare just to have a little bit more control.
Yeah.
But John Bonham would have just been the 3. So it's got a lot of room sound. And I did EQ the kick a little bit more bassy, and there's a lot more bass in the bass than maybe some of those older records. So we did try. I did try to modernize it somewhat without like overkilling it. I kind of wanted it to be a modge podge of the two, and I gave like very specific directions. Like on the opening track, Pretty Little Dancer, I wanted like a very Cajun fiddle, and so Meredith just like, she just came out of the woodwork with it, because I mean I know what she normally does in Adrian and Meredith, and it's not like super honky tonk. So I was thinking she'd be doing more of the like choppy stuff, and then like the more pretty like strings like she did on Simple Truths. But then she's like, well, let me just give it a try. I've done some Cajun stuff. And then she just like rips off the and
yeah,
okay, she's got that. And then I was like, I really want, like, this is where I would have called you if I knew you at the time. I really wanted like the twin fiddle Texas thing on Don't Drink Well Whiskey in the Lone Star State. And she's like, well, let me just try to track a couple. And she did it, and it sounded great. So it all worked out.
So that song that you just mentioned, like the whole thing is like, in your neighborhood bar, the well whiskey is Buffalo Trace.
Yeah.
Like, that's not true, is it?
Yeah, that's Mickey's.
Is it really?
Yeah. That's the one with the jukebox.
Because it ain't no lie, you don't get good stuff if you get well whiskey in Texas. I mean, if you're gonna get well anything in Texas, you got to mix it with something, because it's not good stuff.
See, I didn't know that, and so I'm just like, I'm sure it'll be fine. What it'll be like, Evan Williams or something. I can handle some Evan Williams, and it was like swill. It was just awful.
Yeah, it's a plastic bottle that they had sitting down there for 20 years probably. It's not good stuff.
It just has 3 X's on it. That's all.
That's right. It's something they made with the freaking runoff from the roof.
Right.
Oh goodness.
So, Will, your new album is titled Tioga Titan, and you've released 2 singles so far, correct? You've got Simple Truths and Goodbye Sweetheart.
Right.
Is there a song, I guess, which song is your favorite? And what song that have you not released that you can't wait for people to hear?
That's tough. I don't know what my favorite is. Well, I'll just start with the third one is that we will release is Tioga Titan. And I am excited for that to get released, I guess, down in Louisiana, just to see if they'll actually play it. They haven't been Louisiana is it's an interesting place where they're kind of self-isolated. And if you leave, they're not very friendly to you. And I don't mean any disrespect, but I mean, there are people that are super awesome down there that still like support. And, especially in the New Orleans area, but in certain areas, like if you leave, they're done with you. So I'm interested to see if I'll actually chart, because it's a song about Louisiana from a Louisiana artist, and they do have Louisiana charts. But so we're gonna try to push that one, and it's like got a swamp pop feel to it. It's very Louisiana. So I'm excited for that one because it's a little bit different than the rest of the record. My friend Layla tracked all the kind of high parts on the harmonies at the end of the song, and her boyfriend was like, what is this? It's like, well, it's swamp pop. I don't know what else to call it. It's like, it's not quite blues, it's not quite country. What is this?
I've never heard of swamp pop until right now. It sounds awesome. Like that sounds like I mean, is that something you kind of came up with, or is that a term that you're familiar, like you've heard for years?
No, it's a legitimate thing. I mean, it's been around since like the 50s. Okay. It basically it started off.
I never
if
heard
you
of
ever
it
heard "See You Later, Alligator" is a real popular swamp pop song.
Oh wow, there you go. That's the classic. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got horns, and it was basically Cajuns trying to imitate what was on the radio, and it just came out more Cajun. So it's definitely a real style.
That's cool.
I feel like I have to confess something. I think I got your. I think I sent you the message that I got your CD. I think I got it Sunday. And I know I've made it through the whole thing once, but I would have listened to it much more if I actually had a CD player. I thought when I ordered it, I thought that I could pop it in my PlayStation 4. But you cannot listen to audio CDs in a PlayStation 4. And I only found out when I put yours in and it didn't play.
That's stupid. I mean, why? Like, I don't understand why a PlayStation 4 can't do that, because it has the capability. They just don't want to.
Yeah. And I actually put it in my Xbox too, and it wouldn't play there either for some reason. It would show me the titles and the lengths of the song. It would look like it was playing, but no audio would come out. I don't know if it's something wrong with my app or something, but so I had to go out in my car and listen to it. Anyway,
you have to go old school where you like transfer it to iTunes and then put it on your.
You know what? I could do that if my computer had a CD player. Like my computer doesn't even have a CD player. Like I've got two. I've got one computer sitting on top of another right now. Neither of them have CD players.
Actually, yeah, mine doesn't either. So my desktop does, but my laptop doesn't.
Yeah.
Jason, whenever you got the album, Will sent you the album. He also sent you a nice little hand autographed 8x10.
Yeah, he did.
Self-portrait.
There you go.
Self-studio portrait, yeah.
Oh, you did that yourself also?
It's on film, yeah.
Well, there you go. Man, you really just do it all yourself.
Very DIY. That's always been my.
I mean, you're good at it, obviously. So.
Well, thanks. I mean, it would be nice to have a team if I could afford it.
Right.
It's more out of necessity.
Yeah, but I mean, again, especially with just going back to the quality of the recordings. So have you always done that? Is that like everything we hear? Is it you've done it all yourself, or? No. I mean, I have. I've produced other records and I've recorded other records, but I have a now, like, we pulled it from the internet. But I have a first record in 2013, 14, when I first moved to Tennessee, that I put out initially, that I'm not really as proud of the quality of it, but I did record and produce that one. I didn't have as good of equipment or knowledge back then, so that one's since been pulled. But the East Nashville Blues was recorded at Magnolia Sun's studio in East Nashville, and then it was mixed by Peter Jacobs at a Black Dog Studios, and then it was mastered by like whatever the CD Baby thing is. Oh, yeah.
The last record was recorded and produced by Wired Birds, which is Brett Stewart, and he also mastered it.
Very cool. Well, Will, would you like to play something for us tonight?
Sure, yeah. What if I just played all Matt Moran tunes?
But you have to play them like terribly and make them sound terrible. Listen how terrible his songs are.
He sucks.
He does.
Something about an El Camino. Or a jacket. I'll just play Lone Star State. Let me back it up. So I'm always like, I hate whenever the guitar cuts off and you can't see what the guy's doing. But anyways. Does that sound okay? It's not too echoey or anything. We'll try it.
Sounds good. Yeah.
I was running around in Texas, tearing up the streets, telling all my stories, or maybe they were telling me. Told them about the heartache, how them Nashville girls ain't nice. Was about to order a double when they gave me some advice. Lone Star beer, it'll taste just fine. A gin and tonic or a vodka and lime. A shot of tequila chased with Tecate. But don't drink well whiskey in the Lone Star State. Told him in my neighborhood bar the well was Buffalo Trace. You should have seen the look on the old Texan's face. They say the wells in Texas make Kentucky Tavern taste like Pappy's, but there's plenty of other drinks still keep you happy. Lone Star beer, it'll taste just fine. A gin and tonic or a vodka and lime. A shot of tequila chased with Tecate. Don't drink well whiskey in the Lone Star State. It's in Texarkana, on my way to Tennessee, to rest my head on a clean bed and fill my belly with cheap whiskey. Walked in a Crazy Horse saloon and I sat at the corner stool. Asked the bartender what they had so I wouldn't look like a fool. He said, Lone Star beer, it'll taste just fine. A gin and tonic or a vodka and lime. A shot of tequila chased with Tecate. But don't drink well whiskey in the Lone Star State. Don't drink well whiskey in the Lone Star State.
That was great.
Yeah, that sounded really good. That looks like a really nice guitar you're playing there. What you got?
Thank you. It's a bourgeois, or I think they say Burgoyes up in wherever.
Oh, okay.
Maine or something. It's called the Banjo Killer.
The
It's a
Banjo
loud-ass
Killer?
guitar.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. That's literally what they call it. It's a Slope D Banjo Killer. This one's custom out of Adirondack spruce.
I have a D28 style Martin that has Adirondack, and I don't know if Adirondack really sounds any different than other types of spruce, but that one sounds killer, though.
I think it's just out of that, New York area, which, I mean, they're Martin's out of PA, so it makes sense that they'd be getting a lot of Adirondacks.
Yeah.
So will that song Lone Star State, is that on the new album?
Yes. Yeah.
Very cool.
I think that's track 6 or 7 or something. I can't remember.
See, I knew about the song, so I've at least listened to it once. See.
Yeah, there's like a sweet baritone guitar on it and some sick harmonica from Fawn Larson. And then Meredith plays the twin fiddles too.
How do you think the sound of this album compares to the sound of your previous albums and EPs?
Well,
or how has it changed, or if it's changed?
I think that this one I self-produced, and so I got to do it exactly how I wanted to do it. On the last one, if there was like a conflict in production, I deferred to Brett because he was the producer and I trusted him. So I think that a lot of the production you're hearing on the last record is reflective of Brett's style of production. And I probably would have only done 10 songs on the last record. He wanted to do 12, so we did 12. And I probably would have done, there was a few that, got cut. It probably would have sounded a little more country on the last record. It ended up sounding a little bit more Americana, which is fine because I was kind of, I have a podcast called Americana Station.
Exactly.
Play with a lot of Americana artists and stuff like that. But I think that I just started to slowly notice that the ones that were more country on the record were the ones that were received the best. And so I just kind of decided that I wanted to have a little more cohesive, because I feel like the last two are a little bit more all over the place. Because I write a lot of like folk, and I love bluegrass, and I'm not just specifically like a country songwriter necessarily. So I think that I decided that I wanted to do a country record. So it's a little bit more, I think, cohesive this time as just like a solid country record.
I think I read, it might have been on your website. There's like a little section where you're kind of answering, doing like a Q&A. Was that on your website? I saw that because I saw there was a question. I don't remember. I just remember you saying that you always wanted to be a bluegrass player, but you said you didn't feel like you had the chops to do it. But
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what's the bluegrass what's the bluegrass influence for you?
That's a great question that I haven't ever gotten. Yeah. Well, I like, of course, like Scruggs, and I played banjo for a long time back in Louisiana, and I never quite pulled off bluegrass. Even whenever I started flat picking and trying to get a little bit better at acoustic guitar and stuff like that, I never could like be as clean and precise. And I definitely don't have that high lonesome bluegrass sound. But I love Doc Watson. He's a huge influence. Now I'm drawing a blank on some of the guys that you just like, honestly any traditional bluegrass. I was always listening to those playlists and stuff like that.
Did you catch on to like when the whole Nickel Creek thing and they kind of, I don't know if they were responsible for bringing it, but the whole kind of almost, I don't know what you call that. It's not newgrass. Is it newgrass? Is that what you call it?
Some people like do the Boston grass thing, but that's a little bit different because Nickel Creek's from like.
They just have these a lot of times they're very like their first album was like, I guess more traditional sounding than they got, but they had some very complex, arrangements and instrumentals that just kind of went all over the place, almost jam band type stuff that they got into. Were you into that kind of stuff as well?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like Punch Brothers, I've seen like 2 or 3 times in concert, and I'm trying to think of some of those other newgrass bands that I feel like I'm just drawing a blank on everything right now. But my cousin by marriage, Jenny Lynn, was in Della Mae, and they came from that Boston like kind of newgrass revival scene up there, and there's just like a ton of them. I can't even think of all the names of them, but Della Mae's a killer, like bluegrass band, all female bluegrass band out of Boston. Well, they were out of Boston. I'm not sure. They might be in Nashville now.
So you said you play the banjo.
Yeah.
What got you into the banjo?
I honestly like production. I wanted more layers to the music that I was doing. And then I met Fawn Larson, who played harmonica on this record back in Louisiana. We actually moved to Louisiana. To Tennessee at the same time. But I met her back in Louisiana, and we formed a band called The Onlys, and she was playing fiddle and harmonica and acoustic guitar, and I was playing acoustic and banjo, and then I picked up a mandolin, and I was playing electric guitar too. So, and then we picked up Luke Andrus, who co-wrote High as Willie with me as drummer, and then our bass player was Gary Newman, who is Jimmy C. Newman's son. He plays bass. He played for Tom T. Hall and Jimmy C. Newman, and he's like 70 now, but he's an incredible bass player.
Yeah. It's funny because I will probably be speaking to you more privately about banjo and pickups and banjo, because I've already gotten your advice on mandolin pickups. But I'm gonna play some banjo as well, and I'm gonna go the same route. My wife just ordered a pickup for the banjo that I have, and she's gonna install that. So
that's nice. Yeah, mine actually is. I think it's called Gold Tone or Gold Star, and it's literally just a 57, but it's in like a gooseneck that you can snap onto the banjo. So you just snap it, and you can move it to wherever it sounds best, and it doesn't feedback quite as bad because you can pull. You're not directly near the. It still does feedback sometimes, but
well, we don't have to sit here and talk about pickups all day long, but that pickup.
We just lost like 30 viewers.
Yeah. If we had 30 viewers to begin with. Now that setup for the mandolin worked out really well. I think in a setting with a sound system that might not be quite as good, or a sound engineer who wasn't quite as good, I might have some struggles with it. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Because it's a weird kind of pickup that really picks up a lot of noise, but they just knew what they were doing, and it was a good system, and worked out really well because they were on top of it. Because they have this is another conversation that came up recently. They, in a place like that, you get with a venue that's high level, they generally have at least 2 engineers. They're gonna have somebody running the sound on the stage, and somebody running the front of house system, and that guy was on top of it the whole night. So, but
yeah, he played one of those songs. I can't remember what it was, and I was like, oh man, I'm like back in middle school.
yeah 1985.
Yeah,
that's the Bowling for Soup song. We played a couple of Bowling for Soup songs, but no. So you picked up the banjo, it sounds like, at least partly because you were just kind of doing it because you needed a banjo in songs.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like out of necessity, kind of. Just was the first thing you did with banjo, was it recording stuff, or were you playing in a band setting doing
that? No,
the
first thing I did was recording stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I would go to bluegrass jams and stuff like that, and I actually met Jesse Rayo, who played on Living with Ghosts. All the banjo on Living with Ghosts is Jesse. We kind of started at the same time, and he just actually got good at it. So he's from Louisiana as well. He's from Lafayette.
Yeah, banjo's tough. There's some. I'm gonna do my best, but I'm gonna do very basic things. Like I don't think I would ever be ballsy enough to show up at a bluegrass jam session and try to sit in, because I would just feel like, I don't know.
Well, a bluegrass jam session in South Louisiana is a lot different than the bluegrass jam session here in Nashville. Like, I only bring my guitar because they'll make you take a break on banjo, and I would just crap my pants and run out of the room.
Yeah, no kidding.
But I don't mind doing a little bit of flat picking, even if it's not that great at a bluegrass jam. But I'm not good enough on banjo.
Yeah.
Well, would you like to play another song for us?
Sure. Yeah, I can play one.
Yeah, I took us down the banjo rabbit hole, didn't I?
That's okay.
I was trying to think of one that I had banjo on that I could play, but I'm just gonna play this is the new single, and it's called Simple Truths. Oh, there's a video that it hasn't been announced when it's going to come out yet, but there's a video for this that I worked my ass off on. So hopefully everyone watches it. It was a lot of fun to shoot. And yeah, this one's called Simple Truths. Got a coffee stain on my brand new shirt. Woke up early, but was late for work. Traffic cleared, then I got stopped by a train. Boss man's been on my back. Tires are bald and windshield's cracked. But when I see those blue eyes, it all fades. And it's game over when you look my way. My tongue gets tied, can't find words to say. Lucky life has these simple truths. Sun's gonna rise, mama's gonna pray, and I'm gonna love you more each day. Bird's gonna sing, and baby's gonna cry, and I'm gonna thank God every night for these simple truths. Got 42 cents in my bank account. Checks coming tomorrow, bills will clean it out. Sun is shining, but this weekend it's gonna rain. Last week I caught a 9-pound bass, my 6-pound test nearly snapped in half. I'm just glad you're not the one that got away. And it's game over when you look my way. My tongue gets tied, can't find words to say. Lucky life has these simple truths. Sun's gonna rise, mama's gonna pray, and I'm gonna love you more each day. Bird's gonna sing, baby's gonna cry, and I'm gonna thank God every night for these simple truths. Now and then the sky will turn gray, but it always turns back blue. And now I've got a little one on the way. Found a love I never knew. Sun's gonna rise, mama's gonna pray, and I'm gonna love her more each day. Bird's gonna sing, baby's gonna cry, and I'm gonna thank God every night for these simple truths.
That's a great one.
Thank you.
Sounds awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, I was really going for the great day to be alive vibes on that one.
So, Will,
It's got it.
Yeah,
It's got those vibes.
Yeah, it definitely does. You've referenced your podcast a couple of times. What made you decide to want to start a podcast or be a part of a podcast?
Well, initially so I started it twice. It got started and just fizzled out the first time. And so most of that's hard to find online. If you dig deep enough, you might find a couple of things. But then I was doing that with a partner, and the partner just wasn't as like, they were like, very like, yeah, let's go, let's do this. But then when they saw how much, as you know, how much work goes into it, they didn't want to be as consistent with it. So I started again. I resurrected it maybe like a year later or two, and just kind of started it all by myself. And the idea was just I've always been like very avid supporter of music scenes. I think it's important for us all to be together and to have each other's backs, and to, like, all the small towns, they shit talk, and it's just stupid. We're all doing the same thing, and there's room at the table for everyone. So me supporting someone else doesn't mean that I won't be able to do something too, And I think, like, in the smaller towns, sometimes because there's such a limited amount of music that you can do, they're not very helpful to each other. And that always bothered me when I was in the smaller towns. So I just wanted to kind of build up a community and support people. And I think that has been a very beautiful thing that has happened. And then last year, I added India Ramey to co-host. I knew I wanted a female co-host. And I liked a lot of what she was saying online. I didn't really know her very well personally. And I reached out to her, and she's like, actually, yes, I've been thinking about doing something like this for a long time. So it worked out.
It's really cool. I assume that, like, you probably not only discover new music, but you probably create, friendships with people that you would have never met outside the podcast, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, in the earlier days, it was mostly people I knew, because people weren't really knocking at my door. But lately, the Boot did an article that really helped a lot. It was like 11 podcasts for country and Americana fans that you need to listen to. And ever since then, I can't even answer all the emails that I get. So it's been super cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, like, now in the last year or so, it's been a lot more people that I don't know, and getting to connect with new people too.
And how can people find that podcast?
It's on all the platforms. It's Americana Station. And then on Twitter, it's at Americana Station, because we ran out of letters.
I understand. Yeah. That's why we're LFDT pod on Twitter, because let's freaking do this will not fit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Will P. Harrison on Twitter, because Will Payne Harrison won't fit.
And you've got links to this on your website too, willpayneharrison.com.
Yeah, you can stream straight from the website.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was just looking at it. The first episode was back in January of 2018, and you're up to 70 episodes so far.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've got about 4 or 5 more that I need to edit and get out there. So Afton Wolf is coming on, and Mary Scholes, and Brittany Collins, and someone else. I don't know. There's a lot.
Yeah. You're definitely I mean, as far as podcasts go, I would say that kind of puts you in the veteran status almost, because that,
2018. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, podcasts as a thing, like what are we going on? Maybe like 10, 12 years tops.
Right.
I mean, like, sports podcasts have been around since
maybe
like
20 years.
Almost
20.
It's been a little bit, but they've exploded in the last 5 years, certainly. And I assume with your with kind of your subject matter, you're probably, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of other podcasts, but your field is, I mean, you're pretty focused on a specific.
Also, shout out
there you
to
go.
Jason at the Marinade. Yeah. He's great.
So you probably reach the audience you're trying to reach, because you're kind of laser focused on exactly, the audience you're trying to get to.
Yeah. Well, and I've done some that I didn't really think fit. And those usually flop. So, I mean, because the people that tune in every week don't care to listen to those. So
Right.
yeah. So I mean, I have a couple of rules on mine just from what I've learned through time, and that's I want him to have a publicist because I'm not going to rely on, at least at this point, I'm not going to rely on the artist to really push it very well. And if it's not getting pushed, then we're putting in all this time and effort and nothing is really happening. And then just have a record coming out. Don't hit me up and your record came out 2 years ago because it's not really relevant at the moment. So that's kind of my format. It's just like we're promoting a new record, and please have someone that's helping you promote it. It's kind of otherwise I'm probably not going to really look at, because there's just so many great artists out there that I would love to have on the podcast. But if I'm putting out 2 to 3 a month and they're only getting 50 hits or something like that, then why did I put 6 to 8 hours of time into it? When you're starting off, I mean, you expect that, but
Right.
and I did get that, starting off, but like as you progress after, would you say I started in 2018?
Yeah.
It's 2022, almost 2023. Like at a certain point, you're just like, okay, if this is just a plateau, then like I'll go back to 1 a month. But if I'm starting to see things get better, then it's worth my time.
Yeah, I understand.
And you said you got picked up. Who was it that you said got kind of picked up as a podcast to watch or to check out?
The boot.com. That was super cool. Shout out to Matt Wickstrom. He put me in India in the article with like walking the floor and
Oh yeah.
I think I don't even remember the Cocaine and Rhinestones podcast and probably Joe Pugs or something. It was like when he tagged me in it and I saw the people we were in there with, I was like, no, there's no way this isn't right.
Yeah, I actually haven't really spent that much time recently listening to podcasts. I used to listen to them all the time when I would go on my runs. The walking the floor was one I listened to a lot. Which
I
that
listened
one's
to Robert Earl Keen's.
a couple of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that one called?
I think it's just called like
Americana or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was sitting pretty high up on there, and then Robert Earl Keen came out with his and took me out of the top whatever.
Yeah. Does he still do that?
Yeah. As far as I know.
I wonder if he's gonna keep. I mean, because a lot of those when I listened to them, they were like at some venue where they were doing a show.
He has like a house where he like writes, and I think they do a lot of them there. At least the ones I've listened to.
Yeah. Well, sorry, the dot is going off in the background as a reminder. I'm like, what was that noise? My kid has to come take a bath. So he's gonna come marching through here in a minute. But anyway, no, I really liked like the Joe Pug one. Listen to that one. The Chris Shiflett. Chris Shiflett was cool because he's like a lot of these places he's going to where people are performing, and he's going in backstage. Like I think I heard one where he went backstage with Chris Stapleton. Like I guess whenever you're a member of the Foo Fighters, you get like access to folks.
No kidding. And it's cool because he's done like Andrew Leahy and like a lot of people that are like that I know,
Yeah.
So it's cool to hear. I think I can't remember. There was like 2 or 3 where he did like 1 year where I was just like, holy crap, like I know all these people, like I actually know them in real life.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, you mentioned your co-host for the podcast. It's India Ramey. She's also playing with you at your album release show, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's October 21st. Do you have any other upcoming dates you want to plug?
I have to think about them. I'm playing at Americana Fest at Love and Exile for Nathan Kalish. He's got a shindig he put together, like a showcase. Van Plating's playing it as well, and so is Veronica Stanton, who's playing my album release. And that is the next Thursday, September
15th.
16th, 15th.
I think the 15th, yeah.
Whatever it is, it's the Thursday. Hold on, it's
September 15th.
15th at 6 p.m. I'm playing at Love and Exile in East Nashville, and then I'm playing Springwater, which is this like old dive bar. It's one of the oldest bars in Nashville. That is September 30th, and then just the October 21st, and then I think there's this residency or this, it's like a songwriter round. I still got to reach out to the guys about that. I did one with Jess Jacoy where she was leading it up, and then I'm doing one it hasn't been announced yet, but I'm doing one in November at they're all in Nashville. Living Water Brewing is the name of that place.
Okay. I know you were in Texas recently. Obviously, that's where you were playing with Matt Moran.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to tour? Do you have any plans to tour in 2023, or do you have anything late for 2022 you've got set up?
Yeah, so I will mostly be doing I'll be playing like Memphis and places within like 2 to 3 hours for the rest of the year. I'm just kind of tied up with custody stuff with my daughter, and then next year in the spring and summer I'll be hitting the road a lot harder, doing some more dates and hopefully some full band stuff down in Texas is the plan, and up in Kentucky. Maybe in Florida, we'll see.
When you put those, because you were mentioning at the album release party, you're going to have, what's the name of the group that's going to back you?
The Royal Hounds. It's the bass player and drummer from the Royal Hounds.
Okay. So whenever you put, I mean, that's specific for that show, right? You don't have a band that you kind of tour with or play shows with regularly. You just kind of put it together for the show.
Yeah, pretty much. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have a pretty steady drummer, but he plays with like everyone, Christina Murray and Lily Hyatt, I think. And like, so he's always like on the road with someone else.
Yeah.
So I get him when I can. And then when I can't, I get someone else.
Okay. And how, you said this band that you've got coming up there, they're kind of well known and established, and like you're like a really a good band. Like, do you sometimes have to like piece them together?
Usually, yeah. I got lucky that they're already like a rhythm section.
Yeah.
That works together. So that's super cool. But yeah, usually, you have like your, I don't know how it works, where y'all are, but usually you have your first calls, and then you have your second calls, and then you might have your third calls. And then after that, you're just like basically begging people,
yeah,
asking on the internet, asking friends, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I used to play with Melissa Carper, and I just tweeted that the other day, and Rebecca Paddock would back me up a lot. And Melissa Carper is incredible. She just released a record, and she's about to do another one on 30 Tigers, but she's an upright bass player, and Rebecca's a fiddle player, and they would back me up. We do a lot of trio stuff, but they moved back to Texas, so I lost them.
Yeah. I don't really do many shows at all, but when I do, I tried to put together a band show. When was that? Maybe the end of last year. And it was all my friends, just people that I know that I got put together, but it was just a lot of effort for one show. So it really hasn't even crossed my mind to try it again. It's like I'll just show up and do the singer-songwriter thing. That's typically what I try to book. What
city is Hutto, Texas near? Is that
Austin.
Austin. Okay, so it's
Yeah,
just like
we're
outskirts of
northeast of Austin. So if you're coming up 35 from Austin, like it's all there's no space in between like the
Oh,
actual
okay.
community. It's like a suburb of Austin, but it's like if you're coming up 35 from Austin and you're going north like towards Waco and Dallas, the first place you'll go through is Pflugerville, and then you'll go through Round Rock. And if you hang a right on 79 at Round Rock, you'll go about, I don't know, 7 miles and you'll hit Hutto. But again, it's all businesses and, suburbs and everything. So, yeah, it's all relatively close. And there's a whole bunch of venues here that I have never played, never been involved with that I played with Tweak earlier this year, South Texas Tweak, and I played 2 shows with him, and they play these honky tonks around here, like legit honky tonks that I don't think I even realized was the thing. Because when I was younger and actually playing in Austin, I was playing on 6th Street, and everything was 6th Street, 6th Street, 6th Street, and
Oh yeah, it's like Broadway.
yeah, and it was just it was just like one freaking sound cannon bar after another, and it was all the same. And you'd go play there one week, and the next week they would have switched owners and changed names. So and you'd play there again. So, but
yeah, it's weird. Like, I mean, as a guy who plays fiddle for people, you probably know, like, you just jump in, and like
I do. I mean,
think
especially this year, it's been more than in the past, because in the past I was just doing my own stuff, and then I would play with my friend Russell, and Russell Boyd. He was getting a lot of traction there for a while right before the pandemic, and we played some decent sized shows, opening for some cool acts. But yeah, this year, and honestly, it's mostly it's all from social media. Just I got pretty involved in Twitter and hitting up with people like Zach Welch, and I played with Jacob Bryan Marshall, and then the Jarrett Reddick thing is all because of social media. Like, I just jumping in and making myself an awkward nuisance and just saying, "Hey, you need a fiddle player," and they're like, "Yeah, kind of." So there you go.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
You just gotta, go out there and make a name for yourself. And I just cracked jokes on Twitter, and then people started following me. Just being a smartass.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like the scene. That's the little community we have here, where we just, hang out like half the day, ended up staring at my phone, just doing Twitter stuff, Twitter banter.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
it works out pretty well. I mean, my experience with social media before this year was freaking Facebook, and it was an awful place to be. I God bless you if you still want to use Facebook, but I can't do it.
Yeah, I got hacked a couple of years ago, and they deleted my accounts. And ever since then, I just haven't given a shit about it, and it's been pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Liv. I just realized that there were comments on.
Yeah.
I always
private
forget.
chat for this entire hour, and then I switched over to comments. I was like, "Oh, people are talking to us."
Yeah, I
Every
always
once in a while,
forget.
I'll flash them on the screen, but
I don't know how you do
Yeah.
that, actually. Yeah, I make the screen full screen so I can actually see you guys, because I'm old and I can't see. But I don't see the comments when I do that.
Speaking of which, Liv told me I was old today on Twitter.
I saw that.
Hurt my feelings. Not really. Yeah, but no, it's been Twitter's been great, and it was kind of freeing, because I think when I started doing all the social media stuff, nobody really knew what they were doing, and you cared too much about your image or whatever.
Mhm.
And then but then you're not really being yourself, and that's what people are there for. That's what keeps
Yeah.
people coming back. Like, even like you were asking about the hat, and you got people that are like, what do you care? And then you got people that are like, it looks awesome. And then you got people that are like, it looks stupid. And it's like, well, it doesn't really matter, you know, if those people, you know, hate it and don't ever want to talk to you again, then like, so what, you know?
Right.
It's a way to create a conversation and talk to people and really get to know them. And I've met so many great people. Well, I mean, it got me through COVID because couldn't see anyone, couldn't talk to anyone
Right.
any other way really. And then, you know, now I've met so many of these people in real life, and it's been awesome. Shout out to all the people that came out in Texas and Oklahoma to see us because of Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
literally,
really been doing it anymore. It used to, but
Say that again.
no, every guest that we've ever had for this show, we booked Jason's booked through Twitter. So Twitter's been very helpful for what we're doing also.
No, what was the last thing you said? Something doesn't happen anymore?
Instagram, it's it used to, like, I used to get a lot of, you know, gigs and fans through Instagram, and it's just smushed. I've noticed that with a lot of my friends. It's just smushed all your reach. So you can't, like, you reach like such a small percentage of what I used to reach on Instagram. So it's a little frustrating. And I guess they want you to do the stupid reels, but
right.
I don't know that I'm good at that.
Yeah, I mean, I could never be like a content creator type person. Like, this is the extent of what I can do. And actually, Justin does all this stuff. I just show up and
Dude,
ask
Justin,
awkward.
it looks great. That intro was super dope.
Actually, Jason did that.
I did that one thing.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
So I did that. My daughter filmed it, and then I put the intro to one of my songs, the drum part that's an intro to one of my songs, and just looped it to make the intro music. But you know, like, people spend a lot of time on Instagram and YouTube or whatever, but just really hyper dedicated to making all that content. And I don't have the
Well,
whatever.
As someone who's had their Facebook deleted, you just kind of like, once that happens, you're like, I mean, how much, like, I'll put time into this, but how much time do I put into it? Because you put all this sweat equity into something and then it just disappears or isn't popular anymore.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned about making real connections and not growth, or not follow growth or whatever, you know.
Right. Yeah, and I think Russell said the other day that I'm one of those people that just, like, one day I woke up and like, oh, this is how Twitter works, and now I like took to it like a fish to water. But I like it. Like, there was that thing the other day, but where they said they were going to add they were testing the edit button or whatever. I'm like, and I kind of jokingly said, oh no, you know. But in some ways, like, what you're saying is you don't, like, that's a good thing about Twitter is you can say you can delete it if you said it and you don't want to be known for it. You can delete it, but once you say it, you say it. You either delete it or you leave it for perpetuity. And it's just, you know, it's what you think. And maybe you think it, and then somebody points out that you made a mistake, and whatever, you eat it, and you're a real person, and you know, warts and all, right? Like, that's.
So Justin, Twitter's not your platform. What's your platform?
No, actually, I use Twitter. Yeah.
Twitter is your platform.
Yeah. Twitter's really my only one I use. I'm on Facebook because, like, everybody is, but I don't really use it that often, and I'm not on Instagram, so I'm solely Twitter based. So
no TikTok for either of y'all.
No TikTok. No, I haven't gotten to the TikTok yet. I feel like I don't know. Maybe one day I'll get into that. I mean, hopefully it won't last. Something else is going to come on, take its place anyway. But
I don't know. I just read an article today about TikTok, like, upturning the sort of like the music industry, because things are taken off because of TikTok videos going viral, and like people are becoming, you know, mega stars and selling out amphitheaters and stuff because of, you know, viral videos that use their music, whatever. So I'm all in favor of all of you, if any of you TikTokers out there using Will's music and making him super famous or whatever, like, you know, knock yourselves out. But I just don't see myself picking up a new social media app at this point. Like, I really sound like a curmudgeon old man when I say that, but like, that's not going to be me more than likely.
Well, I did one that was like when she says she doesn't like Willie Nelson, and it was just "Goodbye, Sweetheart," the intro to the song. But that's only funny if someone else does it. It's not really funny when the artist that sings the song does it. Yeah.
Well, Will, would you like to play another song?
Yeah, sure.
I'll just say, I don't know if y'all saw that, but this is what happens when you do a live show, because my son just walked through and he's trying to wave at everyone.
Oh, no, it's blurred out.
All right, go on, buddy.
He doesn't want to make his first appearance on a podcast.
He's good.
I'm gonna play a song about my daughter. So you guys, I don't really share photos or anything of my daughter online because I think that she deserves her privacy. But I did write this song and put it on the record. I wrote this song the day she was born, and I sing her to sleep with this every night. It's called "Despite My Sin." No one asked to be born into this world, but the Lord put us here all the same. You may not understand yet, my sweet baby girl, but the world needed you like the crops need the rain. When I look into the sky to thank the Lord above for blessing me despite my sin, my one true desire was to understand love, and He gifted it to me with you, Evelyn. Never known more joy in my heart than the day that you were born. And there's no force that can keep us apart or weather through every storm. When I look into the sky to thank the Lord above for blessing me despite my sin, my one true desire was to understand love, and He gifted it to me with you, Evelyn. When I look into the sky to thank the Lord above for blessing me despite my sin, my one true desire was to understand love, and He gifted it to me with you, Evelyn. He gifted it to me with you, Evelyn.
That's a pretty song.
Thank you.
And Liv says, "Oh God, this is going to make me cry." Again, is that on the new album also?
It is, yeah.
And what's the title of that again?
Despite My Sin. I think it's track 3.
Okay.
It was funny, Matt, when he first heard it, Matt Moran, he said, "This is like a really happy album. That's weird." And he's right. Yeah, it is a more weirdly, usually I have more sad bastard songs like Matt, the King of the Sad Bastards, but this record's a little bit more happy and upbeat.
That's the Heartache Kid you're talking about, man.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So we got Van Platting in the chat.
Van Plating, yeah.
Plating, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Van's going to be on the show in a few weeks. Isn't that right, Jason?
Oh, awesome.
That's right. Although don't ask me what date because I would have to look it up.
I think I know. I just didn't know how to say her name, so I apologize for that. But and then Liv's got another comment. Will, you're literally so precious. So,
She's just trying to make up for calling me old earlier.
Yeah, I like the. I mean, excuse me. It's definitely got its moments of you know, what's the word? I don't know if you call it happy. I mean, it's not like
Well,
it's not like a
yeah.
bouncing around happy, but it's like it's definitely got a positive outlook on a lot of things. Maybe hopeful is kind of what I would say. But
Yeah.
it's obviously it's a lot of it's, I would say, based on that song, it's inspired by the fact that you now have a daughter.
For sure. Yeah. I think that's definitely opened up my heart in a whole new way.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, it gives you a new perspective in songwriting, not just like the sad guy who feels like he's always going to be alone.
Yeah.
Like we're all writing.
Will, a little bit ago you referenced COVID, and during that time, did you find yourself writing more songs than normal, or were you inspired to write songs, or how did that process go during that time period?
No, actually, I think that so in March of 2020, Veronica Stanton and I had like a 2 or 3 week run of shows that we had spent months booking and putting together, and so that all got canceled. And then there was some other ones that were getting booked with Brother in the Haze and the Rayo Brothers for the rest of the summer, and those all got canceled. So I kind of spiraled into a depression for a while, to be completely frank, and I didn't really want to write because I just felt like I had put all this effort and time into my craft, and it was all for naught. And so it was really hard for me for a while. I was probably, and then everything shut down too. So, and I lost my job, as well as my music career for several years. So it was probably the following year before I really started writing. And then I wrote a couple of songs for that EP that I put out, the Stratford Sessions. And then on this record, probably half of the songs were written pre-pandemic. And then there's a cover by Ben Delacour, the last song on the record, Uncle Boudreaux Went to Texas. So probably only like 3 or 4. Pretty Little Dancer was written during COVID. Of course, Despite My Sin was, and then Simple Truths. I think everything else was pre-COVID. No, Tioga Titan was during COVID too.
Okay.
Yeah, I think everybody's got like a different experience and story for how. I mean, obviously there's a shared thread there for musicians where the shows went away, but
yeah.
some folks kind of used it to become like uber creative and make a bunch of stuff because they had the time that they wouldn't have had otherwise, and then other folks like completely changed directions. And I know some folks who were doing shows before and now just don't do it. Just completely don't do it anymore. But yeah, I mean, and then there was the whole streaming thing that everybody.
Yeah.
Did you do any of that?
I did, but at the time I still had my job, so I did some streaming for people that lost their jobs and gave the money to them, and then I lost my job too.
Yeah,
and,
yeah, that was my experience too. Like I lost my job in April of 2020 because I worked at the American Cancer Society, and all of their fundraising had to basically go on hold because everything was so much they relied on in person, and that shriveled up, and so all the programs went away, and a lot of people lost their jobs. But yeah, I did the streaming stuff, and I don't know like the time frame when you were doing yours for other people, but seems like the pretty common theme that I hear from people who did it is like you jump on and you do it right when it started, and the money was just like rolling in, and you're like, holy crap, like this can supplement my income. This can, like this is going to work. And then, a few weeks later, it's not doing the same thing anymore.
Then everybody caught on, and yeah.
Right. Because every time you turn around, there's 14 people streaming at the same time.
Right.
So it was like, and it kind of dilutes your impact, I guess, because now everybody, like, if you go play shows, you're not playing to the same people every time. You're going to a different place and playing somewhere for a different audience.
Right.
But when you're doing it online, it's generally the same reach every time. So
pretty much, yeah. I mean, and the thing is that like it was also just like streaming fatigue.
Yeah.
At first it was like, well, this is kind of fun because I'm just sitting in my house and now I get to see other people sitting in their house and what they're doing. But then after a while, you don't care anymore. Like, I don't want to. Yeah. I want to see real music. I don't want to see somebody on a screen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was never a fan of really. I don't really. Anyone who follows me probably notices that I don't really do much live streaming.
Yeah.
It's not really. Again, I'm about connection, and I mean there is a form of connection there, but I'd rather see people in person.
Yeah.
We are live streaming right now, by the way.
And I am playing songs for people, yeah, I know. And here I am shitting on it.
We tricked you.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of led you down that road. I thought the COVID answer was going to go a different way, and so because you just played like an upbeat. You're talking about your album's more upbeat and everything, and then I kind of led you down a dark path. So that was my fault.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Before we get out of here, would you like to play another song for us?
Sure. Yeah. My
By the way,
no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I don't know how loud the bathwater is on the. Can y'all hear it?
No, not at all.
Okay, great.
Barely, but it's not too bad. Yeah.
Good.
I should probably play one that people haven't heard yet, I guess, or hasn't been on the record, or hasn't been released yet. You said Van Planing's going to be on the show soon. She played violin on this fiddle, whatever. This one's called The Way. I got a friend who likes his burgers rare. Sits in Dino's diner in the back corner chair. He loves his Miller Lite. He'll buy the room around. The only thing that he loves more is going honky-tonkin' downtown. I can see the kindness in a stranger holding the door. Forgot the words right there. Let's start over. I can see the strange kindness when a stranger holding the door. You blow out on 24. I was playing with Kimmy Most the other day, and she forgot like a whole line, and she had to do exactly what I'm doing. And I was like, don't worry, I'll do the same thing. And here I am doing it again. I did it that night too. Chopping extra wood, it's starting to get cold. For the wooded, God Lord. We're just gonna go to the chorus, man. I'm messing up the words here. And that's the way I hope to be. sharing love with everyone I meet, taking time to listen well, to lend a hand when someone needs my help. And I met a woman, she followed the letters and read, helped the hurting, then went home to her wife in bed. Some folks don't like it, holding high white picket signs. No matter how much hate, her love is all that shines. And that's the way I hope to be, sharing love with everyone I meet, and taking time to listen well, to lend a hand when someone needs my help. When it's time to lay me down, 6 feet in that cold, cold ground, bury me in my boots, and pass along all the love I gave to you. And that's the way I hope to be, sharing love with everyone you meet, and taking time to listen well, to lend a hand when someone needs your help.
Very nice. That's the way. Is that on the new album also?
It is, yeah.
It is. Okay.
And the lyrics are correct on that version.
You didn't put it on the studio like that?
No, I didn't just start talking about how other people forget their lyrics too. Trying to throw them under the bus.
You
I mean,
mentioned
that would be a direction you might consider taking at some point. You know, be
like David Allen Coe, like, you know, I said that there should be a third verse to this. It wasn't very country and western.
There you go.
There isn't a lot of that talking verses like you would get a lot of times. Like George Strait songs had talking verses, you know. And
challenge accepted. Next record, I'm doing it.
Dude. Can't wait for it. I think it takes some guts, because it's funny, because I think at some point I tried to write something like that, but when you really start sitting down to try to do it, you realize how awkward your speaking voice is if you're trying to record it for like a song. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not the same as singing. It's
so Ben Delacour, I recorded his song Uncle Boudreaux Went to Texas, and he actually has a speaking part, and he has like this deep, lovely baritone voice.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's kind of booming on, you know, or whatever. And so I'm trying to do the same thing. And man, I must have done like 5 or 6 takes, you know, maybe probably more than that. Or just like the part, because he says it's actually in the same key. He says, signed, Cactus Cafe, Austin, 1989 or something like that, you know. And I'm like, you just feel so weird, like, signed.
Yeah.
Cactus Cafe. Nope, that's not it. Signed. You know, you're trying to just get it right, because his sounds great on the record. But
darling, I've wasted a lot of years. Yeah.
So, Will, you said that Van is on the way. She had a question for you. She said, what's your plan leading into 2023 once the album is out? Will you be traveling some more?
Yeah. I'm going to sucker her into letting me play down in Florida. And I hope to make it out to Texas. Kentucky and Texas are two of my favorite places to play outside of Tennessee. And So I definitely plan on making trips to both of those locations. And of course, I'll play a little bit in Louisiana as well. And hopefully the East Coast, we'll see. And there's some great honky tonks and stuff out in like North Carolina, Virginia areas too.
We definitely hope you get back to Texas so you can have that rematch with Matt Moran. So you got to see that feud continue in the future.
Well, many of y'all may not, y'all may have missed it, but at Seth Jones, we had that arm wrestling, and
I saw that too.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Not only did I take out Matt Moran, I took out Seth Jones as well.
Now that's an accomplishment right there.
That dude is ripped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's on the show next week.
It's his own fault. He let me have 2 arms.
Hey, the rules are the rules, right? Like if he set them, then that's you have to play with.
If you didn't specify that you couldn't use 2 arms, then
right.
Yeah, we got Seth, I think, next week. Isn't that right, Jason?
I believe that's right. Yes, the 13th.
Yeah, he's in the studio doing some more work. I saw.
Yeah, he's working on his punk thing now, I think, right?
Oh, okay.
I believe that's what he's doing.
Oh, okay.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Well, we've appreciated having you on tonight. You've got a great website. In addition to all your great music, it's willpayneharrison.com. Is there anything else you'd like to plug before we get out of here?
Yeah, you can check out the podcast as well. Americana Station on all the streaming platforms. It's on Spotify and all that too. But make sure you're also following the Let's Friggin' Go podcast.
There you go.
That's the first one you rate and review, man. Everybody go rate and review
exactly
this podcast right now, because that helps them get seen.
Yeah. Like and subscribe. We're on Spotify. We're on numerous audio platforms for podcasts. And Spotify is great because there's video on Spotify also. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see the same thing on Spotify. And actually, because it's on your phone, it looks better. So check us out on Spotify. We appreciate that. Like Will just said, like rate and review. That's so important. Subscribe, follow, all those little things, those little clicks, liking stuff. It really does matter, and it really
takes
helps
you a
out.
couple of, it takes you a few seconds and matters so much more to the podcast. It really does.
It really does. Makes you feel good that people are, interacting with what you're putting out there. So, and speaking of that, Will, you've got the album Tioga Titan drops October 21st. How excited are you for this album to come out?
I'm very excited about it. I've been working on it since 2021. So, and the song since 2019. So I'm ready for everyone to hear them.
Do you already have plans for your next album, or is that way too far in advance?
I've got soft plans. I have probably half the record written. So I don't have like production notes or anything like that yet. So we're not that far down the line.
That's pretty far though. If you've got half of it written and you haven't even released the current album, you're planning ahead.
That's what you got to do, though.
That's what you got to do, yeah. Oh, yeah, and me and Matt are considering. Everybody on Twitter is talking about the diss track. We need to do a diss track, so we're considering doing one. So, if you keep on tweeting us and harassing us about it, we might do one next spring. You just got to kind of force us to do it.
Have we ever had a country Americana diss track like feud?
Well,
like
Hayes Carl has that one. It's like usually like duets where it's like, the sassy woman and the drunken guy or whatever, but it'll more just so be like the two snarky assholes.
Exactly.
I was reading it, like Robert Earl Keen had a song that I guess what's the beer for my horses guy? Oh my gosh.
Oh, is that Toby Keith?
Yeah, Toby Keith did a song that I guess kind of like
with Willie Nelson.
Not that song, but he did a song that sort of ripped off the melody of a Robert Earl Keen song, and so Robert Earl Keen came back, and I didn't know this until the other day. I was reading articles about Robert Earl Keen kind of closing his touring career down, but he put out a song. It was like not dissing him by name, but basically slamming Toby Keith.
Nice. Gotta love Robert O'Keefe.
Yep.
So
The road does not go on forever, and the party does end.
Apparently so.
Still heartbroken.
Yeah.
I think we've come to the end of the road of this podcast. So
There
once
you
again,
go.
yeah. I'm trying to find a transition, just searching whenever I can. So
We'll just say thank you, Will,
party is
for
ended.
hanging out with us and making us look cooler than we are. And
yeah. So thanks to Will, and thanks to everyone who commented, who's watched this, and who's liked this video. We appreciate that. And just like I said, continue to keep track of us. Follow us on social media. We're on Instagram and Twitter. We're at LFDT Pod. Again, LFDT Pod. And Jason, any closing thoughts?
nope.
Nope. Okay.
No thoughts.
Well, Will, once again, thank you very much for joining us, and we appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
So I think we actually have a couple more comments before we get out of here. Well, so Liv is a big fan of Will, no doubt about it. So, fan of all of us. Y'all are so great. So we appreciate that. Got the clapping emojis from Van.
Hopefully Jane does not have a hangover tomorrow. That's what I'm hoping. Bless Jane.
Yeah, she says, I love the heck out of streaming and drinking vodka while I watch, but found that wasn't a good long-term plan.
Yeah, I think she was talking
Yeah.
about the live streaming in 2020.
Yeah, the streaming, yeah. Still.
Oh, I thought she was talking about tonight.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's correct.
Right. Gonna have a vodka stream going here later. Anyway, thanks, Will. We appreciate it. And Jason, thanks for being here also. Jason's got a brand new light, so we can all see him. And that light is courtesy of one Jarrett Reddick from Bowling for Soup. So
There you go.
thanks to Jarrett for hooking up Jason with a light. We can see him. He looks very pretty there.
Is it a ring light?
No, it's like a thing that goes on top of my camera.
Brings out like the beauty in your eyes or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Looks amazing.
All right.
Looks amazing. Okay, for Will, for Jason, this is Justin saying thank you all very much. We'll see you next time. Good night.